You may have heard of birth doulas and death doulas, but have you ever heard of a trauma doula? That's me. My name's Toni, and I'm the trauma doula, and this is your place to heal trauma, body and soul. Were you ridiculed growing up when you didn't get something just right or a certain way? Is there a sense that if things aren't perfect, if you don't do it right, you shouldn't do it at all? Is there a sense of being frozen because you don't know how to do something? Or there's a fear of even trying because you might fail? You, my friend, might be a perfectionist. And that's okay. You're allowed to be whatever you are. And yet, so many of us live with this intense fear of trying, because trying means failing sometimes, especially when it's something that's brand new. I know for a lot of perfectionists, there's this idea of, if you don't get it right on the first time, give up. Because if you didn't get it right the first time, then you're not good at it. And if you're not good at it, then why would you do it? Even if you think that thing is fun. As a perfectionist, you might find yourself floundering to find direction in your life because perfectionism will stop you in your tracks of doing anything that is unfamiliar, especially if you have to learn new skills. Because what do new skills require? Failing, being vulnerable, putting yourself out there. But I want to say this isn't your fault. You're not like this for no reason. Something I always tell my clients is there's a reason why you do what you do, why you feel the way you feel. There's always a pretty good reason too. And so if you fall in that category of perfectionist, it's all right. Oftentimes, perfectionists find themselves stuck. And if you find yourself in that type of season as a perfectionist, this is the episode for you. So, dear perfectionist, this is my guidance for you at this time. First and foremost, it's okay to fail. The very best thing you can do as a perfectionist is learn to fail. This is my biggest and number one takeaway. So if you don't take away anything else from today's episode, learn to fail. You can fail slowly. You can fail quickly. You can fail. Even saying the word fail can be hard for a perfectionist. And if you haven't been able to tell by now, I am a perfectionist, okay? Learn to fail and say the word fail. Sometimes look at yourself and look at things that you're failing at and say, you know what? I'm failing at that. How can I do that better? How can I learn this better? What can I do to get better at this? As a perfectionist in business, I've failed many times on many things in many ways, okay? And yet, I'm still getting back up and trying things again. Something that often happens to people with a perfectionist side is if they fail something, they will not try that thing again. They'll just give up and go do the things they're exceedingly good at. And the thing about this type of person is you're exceedingly good at something. You might be even exceedingly good at a lot of things to cover up the places where maybe you didn't develop as much because you were great at this. So why would I even try that? Even if I have an interest in that, even if I desire it. So learn to fail, learn to say the word fail. And my second tip for perfectionist is don't give up. Don't give up simply because you failed something. Try it differently. I'm just going to take the skiing example. There are people who are good at skiing and get on skis and they're great the first time they ever do it. But more than likely, many of us are not going to be amazing skiers. We're not going to be world-class famous skiers. And perfectionists are used to being very good at things, not just kind of good at things. Recognize that leisure is not something you have to be perfect at, such as skiing or skating or any of the other number of things that you can do just for fun, because there are things you can do just for fun. These activities that you can do just for fun and fail at and be bad at are excellent opportunities to subdue your inner critic. Because if you're a perfectionist, you have an inner critic who is telling you to not even try. That's kind of a part of the deal here. So don't give up on something simply because you're not amazing at it. See if you can have fun with it. See if you can play that thing. You don't have to be good at everything. Be bad at something. Actually, the best thing you can do for your perfectionism and healing that part of you is to be bad at something and have fun at being bad at it. Learning requires failure, and lifelong learning is a beautiful opportunity to recognize that you still have things left to learn, places left to grow, people left to meet and understand. And when you're ready, you can move on to the next step of recognizing your inner critic. Dear perfectionist, you have an inner critic. You may not recognize or hear that voice inside of you that criticizes you, but it's there. You wouldn't have it. You wouldn't have perfectionism without it. And it might not sound like a literal voice. That's okay. It sounds however it sounds. But there is something there that is slowly but surely demoralizing your sense of self so you do not try things. Okay? It would rather immobilize you so you try nothing at all than to have you fail. Learn to recognize the voice of your critic. It will show you exactly what you think of yourself and exactly how you treat yourself. In some way, you are treating yourself like the critic within you treats you. It may not be obvious. You might say, no, it said this, it was really mean to me. I'm not mean to me. But when you go out to eat, you don't let yourself get your favorite thing because it's, fattening or something. Or it has too much salt. You go out to eat once a month. What do you mean? So you have to recognize all these places within yourself that are holding you back from your joy, from things you love. I even take this with not allowing yourself things that you would quickly buy someone else. Say someone really, really likes this lip stain. And it's like $12. And you would get that from them, but you would not buy it for yourself because it's luxurious? It's $12. That is something that perfectionists often do. They don't allow things for themselves that they allow for others. Your inner critic is a part of that. Your inner critic is a part of the reason that is happening. So recognize all the places within yourself that inner critic is. Recognize where that inner critic is, because it's going to show you what you think you deserve and what you think you don't deserve, consciously or unconsciously, okay? Allow yourself to see that in yourself. The final thing that I want all of my perfectionists to ask themselves is, what would happen if I failed? What would happen if I failed? Is there a feeling that comes up? Is there a sensation that comes up? Is there an image or a memory that comes up? What would happen if I failed? And now flip that question. What would happen if I succeeded? You see, sometimes as perfectionists, we're not really worried about failure. Sometimes we're worried about getting the thing that we actually set out to get. Maybe there was a time in your life where you did strive for something and you got there and you realized that that's not where you actually wanted to be. The other funny thing about that is often perfectionists fall in line with people pleasers, and maybe the thing you were striving for, you weren't striving for that for yourself to begin with, but for someone else. So again, those top 2 questions: what would happen if I failed? What's it feel like? What's it look like? What comes up? And what would happen if I succeeded? Is that succeeding the fear of expansion itself or something else? So I wanted to add a little segment to the podcast because I feel like something that's been really important for my healing journey has been just like spiritual healing, and my own healing journey has mirrored and been a spiritual journey. I don't think healing from, and severe anxiety and things like that are simply based in information that I've been sharing, but also in the deep insight that spiritual wisdom has given me. And one of the tools that I have used and was handed down to me, that I got the pleasure and honor of learning directly from people who also did this type of work and learned it and had been doing it for over 10 years by the time they taught me, is tarot. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw a card, and we're just going to do the healing message of that card. And we'll see what comes up. I've kind of been shuffling as I've been talking throughout this podcast, so we'll see what comes up. If you guys like this, let me know. Also, please, please, please write a review for the podcast. If you are listening on YouTube, give me a little shout out, give me a little comment. I love to hear from you guys. Without further ado, the card is Death. So something funny about the tarot and healing messages of death is that within every death, there is a renewal. There's a space to move forward and a light in the dark, right? But something else funny and interesting about the death card is this is a death that is dead, done, over with. It's been over with. It's been done, and it's time to look towards that new beginning. It's time to look towards what is coming in for you. Grieve what is here. Grieve this loss. But it's also kind of time to be looking forward to what is new, to what is here, to what the world and what spirit has for you now. It's vitally important. And so the way that death heals is by supporting you in the recognition that life and death is held in each hand. And every single day we die a little bit. A part of us is gone. We'll never have this day again. But the other part of that, the other healing part of that is a new day is always coming. A new day is always here. A new moment is always here. Each breath is a new moment. And as we look towards that new moment, look towards that new breath, we will always be here breathing in the new moment and breathing out the old one. Thanks, everybody. Always gratitude in recognition and in deep and profound, in that deep and profound joy of being able to come into your eardrums and come into your homes and your cars where you are. Please, if you like the kind of tarot spotlight, healing spotlights, let me know. And with that, see you next time.